It's fucking playoff week. It's playoff week. I told you guys that whenever I was going to talk about high school football, I was going to bring on the hottest high school football reporter slash coach slash everything in fucking Las Vegas. Willie White's in the building.
Yo, what's happening? Happy to be here again. I don't think we've talked since week 1, right?
No, we have
preseason,
not.
Right?
We talked a little bit preseason, but then the fucking whirlwind of a football season flies by. It's crazy that it's week 8 in the NFL. However, high school football is just starting their playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, it goes by quick, and that's what you always tell the boys, like the anticipation of season. It builds up, and then the first game's like ripping off that Band-Aid. And then it's just, okay, it's a season, right? Can we get better? You deal with injuries. Kids are ineligible. But it goes quick, and you always tell the seniors too, like, enjoy it. You get only guaranteed 9 to 10 games, whatever's on the season. And then after that, it's enjoy it, man. There's nothing better than playoff high school football. Nothing better.
No, and that's why this Thursday night, because it's not going to be played on Friday night, we have a lot of good games lined up. We all kind of have this overwhelming feeling, though, right? That although the playoffs are back in Nevada, there's only one division that's really competitive in the 4A. But that's really just a regional title because nobody is 4A up north. So that's a competitive division. But what I was going to say about 5A is it looks a lot like Bishop, Gorman, and Liberty meeting up again to see who plays Manogue. Yeah,
I mean, that's kind of what everyone thinks before the season starts. And I'm going to be real too. Like, I wish that Reno would maybe consider going to the 4A because I would love to see – a 4A from Vegas, and then whoever wins the northern region play. I think that would be an incredible game.
Right.
You know what I mean? However, unfortunately this year in the 5A, like, all roads lead to the best Gorman team I've ever seen in my life. I saw a stat on Twitter. I think they've outscored in-state opponents like 355-0. That means they haven't even
let up a fucking point.
Yeah, like let a field goal, or they're not even making mistakes, a fumble to recover. You know what I mean? Like, it's the most dominating thing I've ever seen.
And the reason why the 5A division was created in the first place was because Bishop Gorman.
Yeah, it was. And it's kind of crazy. This year, like last year, there were a lot of upsets, a lot of 4A teams beating 5A teams. This year, even more. I mean, Coronado beat Green Valley this year in a dogfight.
Right.
You know what I mean? And they're a 4A team, and Green Valley is one of the better 5A teams. And, I mean, that was huge for me. Basic went up north and beat Carson High School, who's 5A. You know what I mean? So, like, there's a lot of I think NIAA, they really need to sit down and reconsider 5A, 4A, and come up with a better solution. 355-0, that's not good for anybody.
Well, I'll toss this idea out here. I'm an idea guy. All right. There's a shit ton of teams throughout the country that have that top team in the state. With NIL deals popping off, and with all this money that's being funneled into these programs, even just by the sponsors and donors, now let's open this up to a national pool, and let's just create, like, I don't know, like a pre-college super mega division where you get the Gormans, the Mater Dei, the St. John Bosco. It's a very tough elite division to make.
Yep.
But you're like an independent team. IMG is similar in that regard too, right? Like, they're already starting that process.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely possible, and it's something that, I mean, it's all about the support you have, and and I think Gorman has enough backing and support to do it. I mean, there's like Finley Prep out here, the basketball school.
They can't feel like, and I would wonder, and I want to ask this to a Gorman football player. How do you feel about winning your state title? Like, truthfully, knowing that there really is nobody on your level, and all you really care about is the national rankings anyways. So how do you feel about winning what will be fucking 4 in a row now? Because I know
they got beat 19.
Yeah, Liberty stole one a couple of years ago from them. But other than that, it's the most dominant run that any state has really seen. I mean, you saw it with De La Salle back in the days of Cali, early 2000s. But NIAA, let's go into them a little bit, because I am a firm believer in a playoff game is the most important game, and everybody in your family, any of your friends should be able to access that game easily. But the NIAA fucks people over consistently by when it's playoff time, let's raise the prices because this is an NIAA game. So the families that are used to paying $12 to get their the four people in their family in are now paying $25, $30. And for a lot of parents, they say, hey, Poppy, I love you, but fuck, I had to pay $500 for your ass to go to camp. Mm-hmm. I want you to be seen. I want to go to this game, but now it's getting a little too tough for us to make all these games. And it's all their fucking fault, man.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with you. There's a ton of schools out there too, and that are less fortunate schools that parents are struggling to even pay those $3 and they're in the season.
Right.
I mean, I think the least they can do is do like a free streaming because there's family members that are out of the state, out of the country that want to watch, and I know right now you have to pay like a $15 membership to get the free stream. It should be free. It's high school football. Mm-hmm. These kids are not making any money. You know what I mean? So but yeah, that's something they definitely have to address because it goes up to like $15 a head. Whether you're a student, you're a coach, doesn't matter if you have a season pass anymore. Mm-hmm. And these are the most important games. Might be the last game your son or brother ever plays. So they have to address that for sure.
Right. And to get off the NIAA and them needing to fucking come up with the new ideas, which you guys do, we gotta reinvent what the divisions look like. Because we have to make it more competitive, and we have to look in to see what the economic status looks like for most of America right now. All right, we're all paying the same fucking gas prices. But anyways, there's lots of different seasons. We're talking about the postseason right now, but there's teams that have done really, really good early on. They've fallen off, and then there's some teams that lost, like the season that spring, that summer season. You had brought to my attention earlier on that Faith Lutheran, one of the more prestigious programs around here, was starting their program. They didn't have anything really in the spring, and they started a little bit midsummer. But the importance of what a spring season can do for a team, and they drop a really big game this past Friday to now play the team that's going to beat them, which is Bishop Gorman. But go into a little bit about like Mike Sanford, what you feel about like Faith Lutheran and dropping the ball.
I definitely think, and it's not just them, a ton of programs out here just don't do enough. And like, so we all know who Gorman is, and it's been 12 years. We know who they are. We know how they work. So in my opinion, there's two things you can do. You can create, they're recruiting, yada, yada, or you can work harder. You know what I mean? And like, in my opinion, that's the only option, like work harder. And that starts in January. Season ends, whenever it ends, you give your kids Christmas break. When we come back in January, there has to be some type of, the football team should be meeting every day at some point in time, whether it's zero period, whether it's bright in the morning, you know what I mean? And where they're lifting, watching film, you're figuring out some of these freshmen that might be dudes next year. But more importantly, they're together. And then after school, they can go play baseball, play basketball, do their spring stuff, sevens, whatever. But every morning or every day at least, the football team has to be together because that's how you build the camaraderie. That's how you win games in Week 10, the big game that Faith dropped, which was astonishing to me. But Green Valley did the opposite of that. Green Valley does put in a lot of work in the offseason, and they do like the 7-on-7, and they travel, play club teams. And I think it's Coach Clay Mario over there, brand new coach over there, young guys like my age, and he's building something. Now, they started slow. Like I said, I think they lost to Coronado early, a 4A team. However, they just, they definitely won the biggest game of their season, which was Faith Lutheran on the road this Friday.
Right.
And that was huge because whoever loses this game is playing Gorman at Gorman. Whoever wins this game is going to go to Arborview. And Green Valley already lost to Arborview, but I know several times where teams can lose in season and get better. That's why you have a season, whether there are injuries or whatever the case may be. But now they actually have a chance playing a public school and have a chance to get a dub. On the contrary, if Faith dropping that game, now they have a huge test. Not saying anything's impossible, but just a huge test is not what they would like to see. I'm not going to lie. I would have loved to see Faith in Arbor. I think that would have been a great high school Nevada football game. There's a lot of guys that matchups I really wanted to see out there, but that's not how the cookie crumbled, And Faith was up. That's the thing. Faith was up, I think, 3 points with 3 minutes to go. They had a chance, and their defense, which has been the strong point of their team all year, just gave up a tutty when they shouldn't have.
And they definitely weren't going to the side of that little sophomore kid that's a fucking stud that got signed everywhere.
Yeah, Matai just kind of blew up, and it's been special to watch. I went and watched him week 1. He was making plays. They played Reed. And like I said, Faith was awesome the first couple weeks. But he was just, impressed with me. Big body, he's 6'4". He started as a freshman last year at corner. Now they move him to safety. About 185, kick and moves. And I love him because he's extremely physical. I mean, this kid, when you talk about downhill safeties coming and like have no regard for his body or anyone else's.
I love it.
He's extremely physical.
Oh, dude, as a linebacker, dude, I played inside backer, so knowing that I actually had like another inside backer behind me. Shout out to William Fedderson. He's finishing up his last year at Mary right now. He was a sophomore when I played.
I know Will.
You know Will?
I used to train Will.
Oh yeah, bro. Will fucking he had my back, bro. Oh. It felt so much different knowing that you have that extra run fitter behind you because you can overcommit a little bit sometimes, get a little excited, but your boy's got your back. Yeah. It's a rare trait you see because people don't understand how fucking psycho you have to be because playing inside backer is tough. Yeah, you're getting a lot of collisions with a 300-pound man. Playing safety, now let's just eliminate any gaps between you and a running back or a blocker coming at you with like 5 to 7 yards of fucking head start.
Yes, sir.
That shit's terrifying.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say probably 90% of offensive run plays are designed to be one-on-one with the safety. Some outside stuff one-on-one with the corner, but everything's normally designed to be one-on-one with the safety, unless it's a quarterback run. Then that puts things in shambles. However, like when you have a guy who can really fill that alley, then it just becomes, then the OC is like, all right, I'm throwing this away. I got nothing else. You know what I mean? When you have a guy who's like, all right, we have to run the other, especially if they run a single high look. It's just tough. There's nowhere you can go.
Right.
And with Matai, man, he's just, like I said, he's downhill, he's physical. He also covers a ton of ground in range. And because he's long, he's pretty solid in man coverage as well. And just excited. Like he picked up Ole Miss. He picked up Tennessee, Alabama, and I think Ole Miss the last 3 or 4 weeks, like this month. He's blowing up, which is huge for our city because it's a kid who's, not wearing orange and blue. You know what I mean? It's big.
And I mean, we talked about Mike Sanford being the coach. That's huge for the city too, because having those college connections just right off rip, and they had Vernon Fox before that too.
And Vernon was doing a great job. I mean, I think Vernon just decided to step away, due to family reasons, but he definitely left Faith, in great hands. And Mike just kind of got, all he had to do was take over something that was already rolling. You know what I mean? Like Faith has been very competitive the last couple of years. And if we're going to talk about, I mean, they're a private school as well. They can easily, it's going to take time, but they can easily get to where BG is if they want to. And I think they were starting to get there. Yeah. It's just going to take more and more time as we go. But I'm going to be honest too, like this Gorman team, these kids have been there for 4 years. They were at Game Changer 7-on-7. I saw some of these kids in 8th grade, and I've known this team was going to be special for years. These dudes are guys. The team that lost, the Gorman team that lost in 19, a lot of these kids were playing on that team. They were freshmen. You know what I mean? Yeah. So like, and they remember how that felt. So like, they were already dudes. Now, it's been awesome to see, the branches. The quarterback, Micah, is an animal. I believe he's only a junior too. He has another year. I don't know why his process isn't picking up because that kid can sling it. They say he's undersized, and I always ask, like, how tall is Bryce Young? I'm just being honest. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With quarterbacks, I hate the size thing because there are quarterbacks out there that are doing it that are undersized.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
There's a weird prototype starting with these quarterbacks, and I don't fucking like it. These little skinny, frail-looking motherfuckers that look like spaghetti strands back there, look like a break in an instant. It's a prototype that people are falling in love with, and I was raised in a day where, your quarterback could be a little bit like more stocky or even short, right? Well, we can see all the Drew Brees throughout the fucking years.
Yeah.
And,
Russ isn't that big.
Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
And fucking Tua's not the biggest either. He's
not. You know what I mean? That's what confuses me. Like, the same thing with Cade McNamara. Everyone's his size. Can he get the job done? Can he get the job done? At the end of the day, that's all that should matter, in my opinion.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Because Micah was throwing the ball against Monterey Day. I mean, that's the thing. Gorman played Monterey Day earlier this season, which was pretty much their national championship, and they were up 14-0. They ended up losing by, I think, 3 or 4 points, but it was a dogfight of a game. Like, it was finally, Gorman really showed us they are one of the top teams in the nation. So I think 2 years ago they played Monterey Day and it wasn't pretty, right?
Right.
So those type of games, those big games, like Micah, the quarterback for Gorman, he's making throws against these 4 or 5-star corners. You know what I mean? I don't care if he's not 6'1", 6'2", 6'3". Like the kid is making the throw. So I would like to see his process pick up. I think he has Hawaii and a couple other offers, but I do think he's a big time player as well. So
yeah, he's getting a little Mountain West pull. But anyways, let's pull up the 5A Northern bracket. Since you used to coach up there, you're very familiar with all these teams. What are you thinking? Bishop Manogue, they beat my Las Vegas Wildcats.
They did
not too long ago. I think it was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
kind of handled them. Top of their division. Do you think Manogue makes it?
Manogue is definitely going to get to the championship. I mean, with no ifs, ands, or buts, they'll definitely be playing for the Northern Championship. Absolutely. Okay. So with Carson, I mean, Carson used to be like a juggernaut. When I first got to Reno, Carson was really good. They've kind of slowed down the last couple of years. And yeah, I think that's going to be a huge test for Carson, especially at Manogue. Tough to play there. They have a good backing. And their coach, man, he does a great job. Coach Ernie Howard, he does a great job. His son's the quarterback. He's, I think, second in the state right now for passing. They have a couple really good receivers too. They have a kid, a big tall kid. He just committed to UNR, which isn't normal. Usually Reno and the UNLV don't offer kids in state, right? So
facts. Yeah.
And the kid got an offer from his hometown, which I thought was big 6'4" receiver guy. And they have a slot receiver. His first name's Dominic. I'm not sure his last name. This kid is special. He's only a junior. He's a problem. He's a problem. Yeah.
And this is Manogue, right?
This is Manogue, yeah.
So, I mean, playing quarterback for your father, and your team fucking kicking ass, that's like the textbook storyline.
100%. It's perfect.
No other team, though, out there? I mean, we had mentioned Truckee a little bit earlier, but is Truckee 3A?
Truckee's 3A, I believe, yeah. Yep. So, yeah, I mean, you have Damonte Ranch versus Reno. Now, that's probably the game of the week up there. I was actually at the game this year. It was a weird game, though, because there had some fires going on. It was on like a Saturday on a short week for Reno. I think Reno played on Monday and then Saturday, so they had like 5 days of rest. Damonte was on like 15 days of rest, and Damonte dominated that game. I'm not even going to lie to you. And at the time, I believe Damonte was like 0-4. It was like a must-win game for the Ranch. Right. And, I'm straight up, I was there. Damonte hit them in the mouth, completely dominated that football game. It was kind of close in the first half, and then Reno's quarterback threw a pick six late, and it kind of got away from him. But that's a toss up for me. I really don't know, because now there's no excuses, right? There's no we only had 5 days of rest.
No. You're coming into it. Well, everybody's battling what they have to battle there at the end of the year with injuries and everything.
Yeah.
But Bishop Manogue, if they make it all the way to the championship game, they face whoever wins from the 5A. Yeah. Which, if we can pull up the 5A South bracket now, the 5A South bracket, this is entertaining. Foothill doesn't stand a chance against Liberty. Liberty is looking legit. One of the faster Liberty teams I feel like I've seen in a couple of years. I haven't watched them intensely, but I know that George Baker, their line coach out there, he's got the guys fired up, ready to fucking go.
Yeah, Coach Baker was my head coach at Centennial.
Amazing.
My sophomore and my junior year. And then actually, he was at Damonte Ranch. He gave me my first coaching job at Damonte. Coach Baker, yeah, small world.
He's one of his wife was his ex-wife was my fifth grade teacher.
Okay,
fifth grade teacher.
Yeah. No, George is an awesome person, and he does a great job with them big boys over there. But yeah, with Liberty's gonna dominate Foothill. Foothill just doesn't have. They were really good last year, but this year they lost some pieces. One of those pieces being Jaden Robertson, and that's a kid at Liberty now. So he was at Foothill, transferred to Liberty, and he's been going insane. He's having a great season. He's only class of 24. He's the guy I believe is at least a Pac-12 guy. I mean, he's one of the best football players in the state, and not a lot of people know it. He's not the biggest guy. He's not the fastest guy. He's probably like 5'11". 180. Dude's a dog, though. You can't coach dog. Dude's a dog. Can play receiver. They had a corner go down who was one of my guys, Rayshawn Manker. He broke his collarbone. And then Jaden stepped in at corner. He's making plays at corner. He's a dude. So he's an emerging player for Liberty that is definitely gonna, they're going to need him to continue to ball out, especially on the defensive side if they want to be successful throughout the playoffs.
Right. Yeah. Okay, so then we move on to Arbor taking on Green Valley. So Green Valley gets a big win over Faith, extends their season, or at least gives them a little hope.
Yep.
But your boy Washington over there at Arbor.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to take Arborview, and I think their offense is actually starting to click a little bit than it was in the first half of the season. I think Washington has like 7 touchdowns the last 4 or 5 games.
Beautiful.
He's kind of blown up. Against Legacy, David had 3 catches, 3 touchdowns for like 110 yards. It was ridiculous. Yeah, just 3.
That's no big deal.
But I don't think there's anyone for Green Valley that can really guard. I mean, let's not get it twisted either. Arbor has some other guys. There's guys like Mikey Vasquez that can go. He's a slot receiver. They have a little freshman kid that can go. They call him Vanilla. He's not bad. They do. They call him Vanilla.
Call you Vanilla.
Yeah. He's
hey,
not
Vanilla,
bad.
fucking wake up back there, all right? We're talking playoff football over.
Yeah. And then they got, Current is actually the quarterback there. I think he was dealing with some injuries early on, but he's starting to spin the ball a little bit. They got some dudes. And then defensively, they're stout. I mean, they have, Zurich, who is going to Cal, committed, defensive tackle. He's an animal. Christian Thatcher's, again, I think the best inside backer in the state. He's only a class of 25. And that kid flies around, bro. Like I when you talk about physicality and just no regard and just it's honestly awesome to watch. Christian Thatcher.
Okay.
Check this kid out.
I'm going to search him. I'm
He
going
has a
to search.
couple
I have a good place in my heart there for some inside backers.
No, for sure.
And
it's crazy because he's long, dude. He's like, and I think
shit.
teams
Is he
are
a tall
starting
guy?
to go. Yeah, they're starting to go to like longer inside backers. I think it's for passing lane reasons.
Yes.
Because USC, I went to Utah USC with David a couple weeks ago. Crazy game. But USC had a backer that was like 6'6", bro. Huge, tall, long, looked like a tight end. But I think teams are looking for these longer inside guys because the ground that like downhill game isn't really it anymore.
Well, they're all like everything's shifting to a prototype. We talked about earlier with the quarterbacks getting fucking tall and slender. These inside backers are really just anybody on the defense. You're fucking nickel backer.
Exactly.
Everybody's got the same build.
Exactly.
All right. Are you fucking 6'4"?
Yeah.
Can we put you up to 230 pounds? You're still fast as shit. Perfect.
Exactly.
Like, all right, we can put you anywhere now.
100%. So yeah, that kid's a dog. And then the biggest thing Arborview that I think down the road is going to hurt them is their DBs kind of scare me a little bit. They're not bad at all. You know what I mean? But I don't see any like elite DBs like they've had in the past.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where they used to be a clear, we're going to man up and there's nothing you can do about it.
So here's a question, because you've seen a lot more high school football than I have this year. People playing 2 ways.
Okay.
Is it a lost art? Because I was always told since my fucking freshman year of high school football, the best 11 will be on the field a majority of the time, and you'll figure it out. Like, if you're not in there, like
that's very situational, right? Like I've been a part of 2 like amazing football teams, right? One went to a state championship with Centennial, and then I think that was in 2019, and then 2016, we played Liberty in like the state semifinal. We won the North. But that was in Reno. Both of those teams, no one went both ways. So there was an offense, there was a defense. Now, that's because we really didn't have to. Like, all right, so like if your best running back is your best corner, but you have a guy who can get the job done, you know what I mean? And he can really, and now you can mold those guys. And like, all right, in a big situation, all right, like I'm going to put my best running back out there. You know what I mean?
Correct.
But what's best for the team? Because at the same time, if your best running back is your best corner in the fourth quarter, bro, in a big game, like, you know what I mean? We need to save those legs. Yeah.
Well, I understand with the whole saving legs thing, but I do think that coaches throw it away faster than they're like, let's take this on, right?
Sure.
Because at the end of the day, you're limited. This is the part that kills me. You limit what that kid's potential could be.
Absolutely.
You take a kid like Washington, for example. Now let's put him at corner, right?
Yeah,
hey, you're rocking both ways, big dog.
Yeah.
It gives you some good film. He would dominate. Yeah. I mean, just athleticism alone puts him in that category. But
absolutely.
But I think coaches, and like you said, I guess great teams are able to separate it and find that balance. You just don't see it enough.
Yeah. What I'll say too is like, as a coach, you should know going into season what your situation is. So like, if I got to go both ways, well, guess what? We're going to run a lot. We're going to be in shape. You know what I mean? If we have a bunch of guys going both ways, because on the contrary, I coached a lot of good teams where guys did go both ways, didn't come off the field. I'm talking special teams too.
Right.
So it's possible. And it's how you address it. And you just going into season, you have to know who your guys are.
And I think that's the thing. Like, you have super athletes, right? And I wasn't ever a super athlete, but I knew I had the abilities to play on both sides, and I was a long snapper.
For sure.
So I was one of those motherfuckers that I was like, it's my goal to never come off
Yes,
the field.
for sure.
Right? And regardless, tight end sets inside backer, it fits a little bit easier.
Absolutely.
But there's certain kids that are able to do it. You know what I mean? And I would say that a lot of these D1 fucking guys, your studs, they can do that.
For sure.
And so let's see. Arborview takes on Liberty then, round 2.
Okay.
In a beautiful world, can Arborview beat Liberty?
I'm not gonna,
because that is the game of
that's the game of
5A.
the year. I mean, that's the game of the year. If that game's probably gonna happen because I do see Liberty winning. I see Arborview winning. I'm not gonna make a prediction. That is literally, we can flip a coin right now.
Hey,
because I'm gonna be honest.
Hey Siri, let's go. Liberty is gonna be tails. Flip a coin. I said flip a coin.
What do we get? What do we get?
Hey Siri. Hey Siri. Hey Siri. Oh, this sucks. One last time. Hey Siri. Flip a coin.
Tails.
Oh,
wow.
All right. So Liberty advances over Arborview.
Okay.
On account of Siri.
On account of Siri. I mean, here's what I'm going to say about both teams. Okay. I think both teams have solid defenses. I think Liberty has a better defense. They're more physical. They're faster. I like their DBs. Now, I've watched Liberty play this year. I've watched Arbor play this year. Both teams can get lackadaisical. Both teams, like the sidelines, particularly Arborview, sometimes the sidelines just seem flustered. And it starts with, the coaches. I mean, I'm just being honest with you. And I'm not bad-mouthing anyone here, but there are times where the coaches for the red team seem flustered. And the Liberty staff, I haven't got to watch as much this year, but I know they have a little more experience. And
Morocco's been there a while, and then you have fucking, like we said with Baker early on.
They got George. They didn't lose their OC quarterback coach. He's at Gorman now, but I don't know that the only thing with Liberty is their offense sometimes is non-existent. Right, I'm just being honest with you. And I don't know what happened in the DP Liberty game, but the score was 16-9, I think, or something weird like that. Not a lot of points, and they just haven't been for the pieces I know they have. The Landon Bells, who just committed to Washington, congratulations, bud. Ethan Hilliard, who's an animal. They have Colin, who they started putting at quarterback a little bit. I'm like, is he a slot? Is he a quarterback? You know what I mean? And then they have weapons that I feel like they have a great offensive line. They should be scoring points.
Right.
And when I look at the scores, and on Friday nights, looking at scores and on Twitter, but why aren't they scoring 50 points a game? I don't know. Right. You know what I mean? So that's the only thing, that's the question mark for me. Because I think earlier, Liberty should win that game, Yeah. Now it just depends on which Liberty shows up. Because I think before season, I was talking about their quarterback, Tyree Smith. He's a young guy, junior, first year being a varsity guy. And he's had to split some time this year. And I think he finally needs to emerge as the guy. Make some big time throws and win this game. This is going to dictate his legacy this game, or in 2 weeks if that game happens, right?
Right.
But that should dictate his legacy. It's going to be on Tyree Smith. It's going to be on Liberty's offense if they want to do it. And then as far as Arborview is concerned, they have weapons, man. They got to do what they got to do, hang in the game, and if they can get the game to the fourth quarter, and it's a 0-0 game, man. That's all I want to see. I want to see the fourth quarter be a 0-0 game or tied game, and I want to see some coaching come out because they're evenly matched, right? And that's when we come into play, the coaches.
Yes.
Right? Now, coaches have to scheme. It's easy to beat. I went to Arborview Canyon last Thursday. Dude, there was anybody could have coached that game and coach Arborview to win that game. No offense to Canyon Springs at all and their players. They work hard. They do their thing. They had a backup quarterback in there. They just, Arborview has better players. You know what I mean? And so that's easy to coach games like that, but when it's evenly matched, that's when
I was always told, right? It's like both teams equal, both teams worked as hard. It's the unexpected enthusiasm.
For sure.
And that comes out with understanding, holy shit, my season could be over in 12 minutes. Yep. I got to fucking dial in. Yep. Let me get into it with my boys. And that's a very tough thing to do for these young men. It's going to be a very tall task for Faith Lutheran to beat Gorman.
Yep.
But then let's go down to DP Palo. Okay. Any sort of hope here for Palo Verde, who upset the Wildcats last year in a fucking playoff game? That shocked me. Yeah. Palo moving up to 5A.
Yep, they are in 5A, and they've been playing better football. You know what I mean? Like they started off slow. You know, they're a scrappy team. I'm not a big fan of their offense. I think they have the weapons to kind of open it up a little bit, but I do see Desert Pines kind of dominating that game.
Yep.
I do. And it was weird. Like in the middle of the season, Desert Pines lost some key pieces. Guys transferred in the middle of the year. They had a star corner that just left, went to California, middle of the year. Had some other guys leave. One kid left and went to a D lineman, went to Liberty. Can't even play. He said, I don't want to be here. So I felt like they were about to fall apart.
Yeah.
And then they started playing better because then they beat Faith. And then they almost, they played with Liberty. And I thought that would have been a 28-point game. So DP is kind of surprising me. They have some guys too, a couple of my dudes over there that can go. So
it's interesting. I got to talk to Angel Torres, their little D-line coach over there.
Oh, yeah.
I played at UNLV with him.
Okay, yeah. Hit him up because I just don't know I really don't know what's going on. I know D Hill's not there anymore, and I don't know.
D Hill's doing a lot of crazy shit. He's
at Georgia.
Yeah, I was about to say he's a recruiting guy now for Kirby.
Yeah,
right?
he's at Georgia. Yeah.
Oh, what a fucking gig to get.
I mean, that's huge for our city.
Oh, it is
huge for our city. Shout out to D Hill, man. Congratulations.
We can. I'll have to bring you back on and talk about college football finishing up. But
for sure.
Let's just assume here Bishop Gorman and Liberty take it on again, all the way down to see whoever plays Manogue up north.
Yep.
Let's round off the 5A here.
So one thing I will say about Manogue up north, really quick, is that Reed right now is playing tremendous football. Reed has a running back named Spencer Firebaugh that is, the numbers he's putting up are insane. They're video game numbers. I've never seen anything like it.
Like 300 rushing yard type shit?
Multiple games over 300 yards. I mean, I'm talking the last 6 or 7 games. I mean, he has over 2,000 yards this season, like 20-something touchdowns.
It's tough to do.
The kid's an animal. He's just undersized, and I hope that his process picks up. He's a senior, and he's really putting them on their back. Like last week, he beat Reno. He rushed for 336, had 4 touchdowns. At Damonte Ranch, he rushed for like 350, 3 touchdowns. I mean, and it's not just he's continually doing it over and over and over against the better teams up there. And I don't know if Reed played Manogue this year, but if that ends up happening in the brackets up there,
you want to switch back to the north one for us really quick?
Yeah, I don't know if that's a possibility. It is. I do think if Reed and Manogue play, that is the chance that Reed might be able to get him, man, because that kid can run the football. And their offensive line, they're young, they're hungry, they don't know any better, bro. They're getting off the ball. Yeah, they're a bunch of sophomores.
That's where you get them.
Stocky little kids, bro, and they're getting after it.
Well, you have to be doing something right if you're getting fucking.
Yeah.
How good does an offensive line feel to have a 2,000-yard rusher?
Right, like that's
what an offensive line.
100%. Like shout out to the Reed offensive line. Like yes, Spencer's a great football player, but he couldn't do that without them big boys up front moving those holes because the kid's going crazy. But so I do think Manogue will end up. But Reed, if someone comes out of there that's not Manogue, it might be Reed and Spencer Firebaugh because that kid's a dog.
That's good. I'm glad you pointed that out because that's fucking. that kid should be getting.
He should get recognized,
sort of
man.
looks
Yeah,
here.
like I've talked to him a little bit on Twitter. Like, dude, what he's doing is not normal. Maybe we can look up his stats after the end, but like, it's not. What he's done in 10 games is not supposed to happen.
Where do you find stats for
Max Preps?
Max Preps, and the teams have to input them.
That's extremely important. Yeah,
it is, dude. Some teams don't.
Well, coaches be slipping. Like coaches
do be slipping.
Coaches be slipping,
and that's huge on recruiting.
Like that was my job.
Put your stats in, coaches.
100%.
Hire a guy, interns.
Yeah.
Wait, could you
Austin,
lie? Could you say I rushed for 300 yards in 2 plays?
Dude, you can so lie. Max Preps is like Wikipedia.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, tackles are the worst.
Dude, I was 6'6" in high school, my senior year.
We're the
Tackles
same
are the
height.
worst.
I've never been 6 foot in my life.
I weighed 240 as a senior. 6'6".
I mean,
what were
it's
you
all-
really? 5'10", 210?
Shut up, man.
It's all in the coach. They can put whatever they want in there, but and you can rebuke it. But I mean,
Yeah.
people kind of just. But with rushing yards, there's no line. You can't lie. About
No,
that.
no.
But
Rushing-
with tackles and stuff, people definitely exaggerate.
Yes. Okay, so
All right. So Manogue probably comes out of the north. Yeah.
they come out of the north.
Yeah.
Liberty, Bishop, Gorman.
I think.
You said it's the best Gorman team you've seen in forever.
Gorman's gonna be a state champion, bro. Like it is what it is. I mean,
That's it.
Liberty can kind of hit him in the mouth a little bit, but 5A Gorman's gonna get it done.
Done.
Yep.
5A. Bishop Gorman, congratulations. You guys won the state title. Gridiron Junkies reported it here first.
Yeah.
Shout out to I'm piggybacking on that. Austin, Bishop Gorman state title. How do you feel?
Hey, I'll say to y'all what I said outside. The only time I ever beat Bishop was in a marching band competition because they just got the linebackers to pick up a bass drum and they were like, all right, now walk forward and hit it.
Facts.
Yeah.
And they couldn't have that happen again, so they sent them back to the football team. They won state. Congratulations.
Was it our senior year? It was our senior year. Did they win state our senior year? No, who won state?
Yeah.
Was it? Oh, well then.
Yeah.
Fuck
win
were they
state
doing on the
every year.
field?
Yeah. Only 2019. We
Never
remember
beat
the
them in
losses.
wrestling either. So
Let's go to the 4A. This is the division.
Awesome.
This is the fucking one that matters,
Yeah.
right? My Vegas Wildcats. They get a first round bye. This is the thing that kind of throws me. The 4A, since it is just the Las Vegas teams, right? This playoff bracket is entirely too large.
Yeah, it is.
It is. We need to skip a week here, people.
Yeah, it
and
is.
There should be no fucking bye weeks.
No, there's no bye weeks in playoffs.
No.
But again, this is something that NIAA has to address.
Yes.
They need to look at all of this. But
Yes.
besides, because honestly, I think anyone in Liberty kind of, I don't know, anyone can beat anyone right now besides Gorman. So like, get Gorman out of it, and then it's fair. You know what I mean? Like if Gorman's out of the picture,
Yes.
there's no need for a 4A and a 5A, and that's my opinion. But
Everything would just be 4A.
yeah,
So Silverado is the reigning champ.
Yeah.
Haven't lost a game in 2 years.
yeah,
I am a little bit worried for my Wildcats because they would have to face them like for the semis.
Yep.
Can the Wildcats get there? We'll get to that here in a second. But it starts off Sierra Vista, Durango. I got a chance to see Sierra Vista this year. Didn't see Durango, but for Sierra Vista, just overall wasn't too impressed with their offense. This was like game 2 of the season.
Okay.
But what I noticed from Sierra Vista is a team that's slow. This is the thing that like there's a noticeable speed difference between a team like Basic and a team like Sierra Vista.
For sure.
Like I definitely
For sure.
know the two things. And even like a team like Del Sol, I saw Del Sol last week. And although Del Sol is dog shit.
yeah.
They
didn't make it, huh?
No, they didn't make the playoffs, which is tough, right?
Yeah.
Like I mean, everybody makes playoffs and fuck for it.
Yeah. Seriously, you
But
got
they have
Clark
some fucking speedsters out
are
there.
they the
but
one team that didn't make it to the playoffs in this
There's
division?
like only 2, like Western and them.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll be happy to go home
I
and
think
report that.
Western's for sure 3A. But Sierra Vista, Durango,
I'm gonna go with Sierra Vista, and this is why. I know Durango's quarterback, Maverick Cormier, was a great quarterback for like 4 years. He's a dog. However, he broke his collarbone. So I don't know who the backup is over there. I know they haven't been playing very good since then.
yeah.
And if I had to pick one, I'm gonna go with Vista, just off of Durango not having their starting quarterback.
Vista taking on then Silverado.
Then you gotta go Silverado.
I think it's a fast track
Yeah.
of Silverado because even the next 2 teams, we got Sunrise Mountain, who I haven't watched. I can't imagine they're the greatest. Taking on Coronado. You said Coronado.
Coronado's
went up.
tough.
Did they go up? No, it was Basic that went up north and beat.
Yes.
Reno.
And Basic's someone that surprised me all year. I'm not gonna lie. Like that's a team that everyone should be talking about. I mean, they're out in Henderson, and they haven't been good in the past, and this year they were outstanding. I mean,
Yeah.
competitive, playing really solid football. Defensively, they have some dogs. They have this kid named Zuri Winters, I believe, or Witters.
Witters, yep.
Witters, yeah. He's an animal. Only class of 24. Plays receiver, DB. They have some big boys. They have Antoine Taylor Jr.
They do have a huge fucking D tackle.
Donovan Cleveland is his name. He's an animal.
Yeah.
He's an animal. But they have 2. They have a junior. He's a senior, the Cleveland kid, and they have the Taylor kid, who's a beast too. So they have some dudes up front that can go.
Yes.
They have some dudes up front that can go.
That Basic team, when they played Vegas on the Thursday Night Lights game that the stream cut, I don't know if you were watching that.
I
at
didn't.
all.
I didn't see that one.
It was hilarious. I was announcing the game and like fucking Kenny White was next to me and their screens just went black. So their generator busted and the fucking entire, it was the first quarter. It was the first quarter. It was nuts.
That's crazy. On Thursday Night Lights.
On Thursday Night Lights, these motherfuckers. But anyways, watching after announcing that Basic game, Basic just made a lot of mistakes in the red zone.
Okay.
And that is the only reason why Vegas was able to beat them.
What was the score of that game?
Let me find that. Let me find that
tight?
for you. It was a tight game up until about the third quarter, and then it was like a bust open kind of situation. Let's see. Las Vegas High School football, motherfucker. But
So what
Shadow Ridge has got a bye. So like let's just say fuck everything.
So
in the
Coronado's
left.
definitely going to beat
Coronado's
Sunrise
moving.
Mountain.
Yes.
Basic Coronado's going to be the matchup, and that should be a dogfight. I am going to take Coronado because I have some dudes over there that can go. They got Michael Floyd, great tight end. Brady Kennedy's a great receiver, one of the best in the state. They have some DBs that can go. Preston McQueen, solid. They got this kid named Ryan Kay. He can go. He's like a nickel. And then their quarterback, Dante Salor, has really grown up this year. And if he can continue to play, I think they beat They beat Basic, which should give them a rematch with Silverado. And in the season this year, Silverado beat them like 35-0. It wasn't good.
Yeah.
But that's
It's a confidence thing. Well, somebody's got to fucking step up to Silverado this year.
My big thing about because I've been a part of that. I've blown out a team in the season, lose them in playoffs. My thing about that is it's hard for teenage boys not to be overconfident. Like, yo, they're looking at you, yo, we just beat them by 40 points, bro. Like, we're not worried about nothing. It's just hard. And then it's a game, bro. Like, if that was the case, we wouldn't play the game, right? You'd move on because you beat them by 40 points. No, you're playing again. Anything can happen in this game. And, you know, I hope Coronado shows up because I definitely expected them to show up the first time. And I hope they show up this time because they have a good team, bro. They can definitely compete with them.
I found the score was 14-0. Vegas
so
beat
Basic just couldn't score, yeah.
Basic couldn't score at all. It was just red zone fucking blunders. And it was on both sides, too. Vegas didn't play the greatest game that game either. But it's interesting that you highlighted that about Coronado and how hungry they are. I'm very interested in seeing them play Silverado again. Yep. If that game does happen.
They have to be Basic first, yeah.
If that game does happen, I would try to make it to that one. Well, it'll depend because I have to announce a Vegas game.
For sure.
Let's see who Vegas will end up playing. They end up playing somebody between Spring Valley or Cimarron.
This is a shot out of a cannon for me because Spring Valley started off really good too. Mm-hmm. And then they played Basic. Basic kind of hit him in the mouth. Spring Valley's been a team like, all right, we started good, and they haven't, in my opinion, gotten better. And Cimarron's a team that started off awful, but they've gotten better. I think they're on like a four-game winning streak. I'm going to go out and I'm going to pick Cimarron for this. And it's going to be because of one reason, and his name's Michael Sabina. He's the quarterback over there. He was my quarterback in 7-on-7, and he shows up in big moments. And this Thursday is going to be a big moment, and I guarantee Michael Sabina shows up.
That worries me. That worries me because then they got to fucking play Vegas next week.
Well,
Frank Nail's football field.
And if that happens, then we have two great quarterbacks, don't we?
We have the state record holder.
Eli's a dog.
Eli's
a dog. Let's get on him.
Let's now a fucking team that I can fucking talk about a little bit here. Yeah. These Wildcats. This I have to bring on the experts to cover high school football. Nobody in the fucking entire state does it, okay? Okay, Austin, don't laugh back there. Wildcats. They're so good this year. They're getting a D lineman back, Josue Santos.
Okay.
He tore his ACL in March.
He's coming back for playoffs.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's gonna probably be in that game, but that's a deciding factor. Not too many people know about that, but if that kid gets fucking cleared and healthy, that defense that was already really good just got elevated. But Eli at quarterback, he now has the timing down with his receivers.
Yep.
See, it was really tough for him because he had weapons like Miles and Victory and Devin Perkins. These fucking track stars, right? So now he's adjusting, and I like to, poke fun a little bit. Vegas kind of looks like BYU at the receiver position. We just got nothing but four little crackers that are just balling out.
And his brother, too.
His brother's
a little slot receiver. That's a dog.
He's fucking good.
Yeah.
Andrew Bowen doing his thing. Ryan Harper stepping up. So once the timing was down, now this offense really opens up because Cap over the years, and I remember being on the staff the first year he coached, it's tough to really understand what your identity is. And we didn't have a quarterback like Eli.
Yeah.
We had Zach Matlock, who ended up walking on at Boise, I believe.
Okay.
But once you have a quarterback that now you feel confident in being able to run routes where people are starting to sit, him and his receivers coach have got these guys down pat. They're always fucking every weekend. Those guys are together, getting that timing down, which is forever so impeccable. But now they're starting to really find it deep, right? Because there's some to be said, right? You can find people 5-6 yards away hitting the holes on some fucking comebacks. But now when you're hitting the skinny post, when you're hitting the seam, you see a safety, you're starting to also get the protection around him that's starting to solidify.
Absolutely.
I'm excited to see if they can continue that level of offense because the shitty thing about that is, right, and what I hope doesn't happen, once there's the flow of the game. So if your offense isn't fucking punching, which that Wildcat offense is meant to punch you in the mouth quick, get off the field. If you sputter in a playoff game, the level of panic in these kids, it goes up, right? The ball starts looking a little bit smaller when it's fucking coming to you. And that's what happened to them last year in the playoffs. They need to stay hot.
Yeah, they do. And I mean, I do believe in the quarterback. I think in times like playoff games, like you go to your leaders, man. Like, and you honestly, you shouldn't like overthink or over. It's just a game. It's the same thing as it's a game. You know what I mean? Like that's one of my biggest problems in the playoffs. When I was a coach in high school, is I overcoached. When like we didn't, I let the boys go out there and play. You know what I mean? And if Eli can go out there and lead, like I definitely think they can probably get past Cimarron.
The only thing he needs to do is just realize at times that he's got his legs.
For sure.
He is a fucking pocket passer to a fault at times, because there's so many times in which when you step up, which he has been getting better at, right? Like I've noticed a difference. His back foot is planting and we're moving forward in the pocket. That's a huge thing for some of these fucking quarterbacks, that they lose that. He's starting to find that, but now he's got to just shift his eyes off of downfield and just say, fuck it.
Fuck it, I'm going to take 10 yards.
Or let me make a fucking linebacker look stupid
for
real
sure.
quick.
And he's a smart kid. He throws a great
Super
ball,
smart, yeah.
But he's only a sophomore. That's what you have to remember too.
True.
He's just been starting since he was a freshman. But let's just throw out there right now, 607 yards in a game ain't normal. You know what I mean? Like I don't care what level you're playing with. I don't care what the case is. Like I don't care if it's 4A, 2A, 1A. I don't care, bro.
607 yards. 6 touchdowns.
Very excited for him to join the B-GR8 family this offseason as well. So we're excited for that.
Oh boy, is that breaking news, or is that?
That's the first time I've really announced it. But yeah, I've been talking with Eli and his dad the last couple of months and trying to get his recruiting process going. And he's committed to the program, and we're excited, man.
Oh, that's fucking huge.
Yeah,
I'm fired up now.
Yeah, and we'll talk a little bit more about sevens and in the offseason, but I think Eli should do really good things for us.
So, battle of the quarterbacks. I'm going to take my Wildcats over Cimarron. Let's see what happens in that next week. They take on Shadow Ridge.
Okay.
If Shadow Ridge defeats Desert Oasis, you got anybody on Desert Oasis or Clark?
I used to have a kid at DO, not anymore. Shadow Ridge dominates that game strictly off of physicality. You know what I mean? I don't care who DO or Clark. I don't know who wins that game, but whoever plays Shadow wins the game. Yeah.
And then it gets real fucking intense because Vegas and Shadow met up. 2 years
last
ago.
year. No,
was it
last year. Yeah, Eli went. That's when I
last year.
first saw Eli. He was throwing a great ball.
So they played last year. It was 2 years ago that Vegas lost to Palo.
Yes. Yeah.
So it was like it's a similar thing, right? Where it's an offense that is fucking. It's kind of draining. It's hard to stop. 100%. And if your offense isn't scoring and you're getting the fucking double wing pounded down your throat, Shadow can win that game. If Shadow wins the first half, they win that game.
Here's what I'm gonna tell you: is they need to go back watch the tape last year. And honestly, I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, all right, you said 2 years ago, and I remember it was Vegas because that was the year we went to state. They lost to Vegas to Palo, right? And they were undefeated, I think, or 9-1. They were really good, like almost beat Desert Pines that year. That was with Deshaun Scroggins. So, and they lost to Palo Verde. What does Palo Verde run? Double tie, double wing. Last year they lose to Shadow. What does Shadow run? Double wing. And so when are the Vegas defensive staff going to sit down and figure out how to do something about it? Seriously. Because I remember, bro, I used to coach. So like the next week we played Palo. So I had the Vegas and Palo film and I'm watching them like I'm not going to tell you what they were doing wrong, but they weren't playing it right. You know what I mean? But you have to understand too, I coached at Centennial, went to Centennial. When I went all we played were double tied. That's the brown and, black and blue division. So, and that year particularly, we stopped it. We beat Arborview that year. We beat Palo. You know what I mean? Like, so there's other ways to play it.
I'll say it. Way too much spacing.
They're trying to force the ball when they need to run. They need to bounce. When you play this,
you
bounce
don't want everything to the sideline.
You
bounce everything to the sideline. But it starts with a fucking 6-man front.
It does.
Or a 5 to 6. You can walk up your backers with a 4-man front.
Yeah, but the front. The front isn't as important as what's happening with the puller. Right? They need to come underneath it, bounce the ball outside. Now, if Shadow's good enough, they'll start wrapping around that, and then you make an adjustment then. But if you continue to force the ball, it's not going to work, bro.
Right.
I'm just being honest. I don't care who you are. Like, they're just going to continue to pound. And you got to make sure your linebackers are reading cards. They can't just be out there just looking around. So there's a down block waiting for them.
Oh, man. It's like the amount of depth that you play with. Because I really do think that there's points in time where you'd have to tighten up. It's like a yard tighten up of the split so that way you can see a little bit better.
For sure.
On those.
And at the end of the day, bro, like they're gonna pop one off. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
The goal is to eliminate those pop-offs, right? And you have to have backwards plays. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Those
If
offenses
you
are terrible,
don't-
just hard to stop.
Yeah. They're 3 yards in a cloud of dust. It's fucking boring football. Tough to announce. I can never see the running back's
Yeah.
number.
Yeah.
That's a pain in the ass. But fuck.
That's a tough one, man. I'm gonna let you choose that one.
Vegas, no
Okay.
doubt.
All
No
right.
doubt, baby. Vegas fucking has an offensive barrage. I really think they're capable of it. They find the holes just like Shadow Ridge does, so why not? Their defense will be improved because they get this defensive lineman who's a fucking stud back off his ACL.
Yeah.
Let's go now to say
So we got Silverado, Coronado.
Silverado, Coronado.
You know.
Silverado, Coronado.
I'm gonna just, dude. I'm gonna say this right, and I'm piggybacking back off of Bama losing to Tennessee. At some point, you know,
Somebody's gotta go
somebody at some point, right?
Giants
Like
got to get slayed.
at some point, and this isn't a Gorman situation. These are kids from here. Like they're not, you know what I mean? Like, and they're good. Don't get it wrong. And like I think I was telling you, what I've heard about Silverado is they're extremely disciplined. They are always where they're supposed to be, and they're physical. Now, I think if Coronado comes off a little piss and vinegar, Silverado comes out a little overconfident. I'm gonna pick Coronado. I'm going with Coronado. I'm gonna. That's a crazy guess, but that's why we're here. Make crazy predictions.
With your crazy prediction, that makes me confident because I mean, I think I know not saying I know too deep on the Vegas mentality of that team, but I was around that school. I taught. I know the vibe, right? Like it's not it's not a giant slayer mentality vibe.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like my Cheyenne team that I played for, and this is personal bias, but I've seen a lot of fucking football teams, and I know like a giant slayer mentality.
Yes.
Like, fuck, everybody's counting us out. Nobody thinks we should be in this fucking moment. Fuck them. It doesn't matter who lines up against us. I don't feel that.
Okay.
I don't feel that. And I feel if Coronado has that, they got a fucking chance, man.
Okay.
Slay the fucking dragon.
All right.
But if Coronado wins, I think Vegas gets real fucking confident here. And I think Vegas wins the first state title that they've won
Okay.
since
05?
06.
06, yeah.
First title since 06 with
Will
Cappy.
Max and Cap was on that team, wasn't he?
Cap was on that team. No, Cap was
02, 03.
Cap was 05.
Yeah, 05.
But then the next year they had their guys win it again. But
yeah.
I'm really, really excited. I think Vegas, Cap at this point in time has got the guys mentally locked in for this point in time. This is the last thing I'm going to leave off with for all you football players, high school football players that have watched this point. Okay. Really, really, really lock in. Fuck Xbox. Fuck your girlfriends. Not literally, but like cut shit off, bro. Because playoff football only favors the motherfuckers that are the most dedicated to this time. If you're not dedicated, it's going to show real fucking quick. And I promise you, the pain of fucking taking the shit out of your locker, handing it in, that shit does not feel good. So if you don't fucking lock in, just realize you're hurting yourself. All right? Because we all can shut off the Xbox. We all can watch a little bit more film, and we can all be a little bit more prepared. You only get one of these fucking games, guys.
Yep.
You only get one of them. And if you don't fucking win it, sayonara.
Yep.
So that's my little PSA. Dial in.
I would have to agree with that 100%, man. Like, I can tell you exactly where my last game was, exactly who I walked off the field with, like how long it took, how long I was crying. I mean, bro, there's nothing. You're never gonna get this back. Like, you go to college, even if you go play college football, which on your high school team, maybe one or two guys will, maybe three if you're on a good team. You're never gonna get that feeling again. Mm-hmm. I'm just being real. Like Saturdays, especially with NIL deals now, like it's more of a business. They're paying you to go to school there and take care of business, right? Here, there's none of that, bro. Like, it's for your community, it's for your parents. Some of you grew up wearing, junior Wildcat stuff, like, or junior Bulldog stuff. Like, it's bigger than yourself, and there's nothing more beautiful than that. So, like, go out and give it literally everything you have, because you're only guaranteed 3 to 4 more weeks, and that's a wrap. Right. And when it's done, it's done. And guess what? We'll be right here 6 months now, and there'll be another group. No one cares when you're done.
Yeah.
Because another group just keeps coming. So, just make sure you leave it all out, man, and you have no regrets. That's the thing. At the end of the day, whether you win, you lose, whatever, there's only one person who wins, right? At the end, only one team is happy, at the end of the season. When you're done, you can look yourself in the mirror and be content, with how you played.
And I'll tell you motherfuckers straight up right now, that feeling is different, right? When you've given it everything, like the tears hit, right? But the tears don't hit like I cheated myself.
Yeah.
The tears hit like, damn, it's over, but meant like in your heart, you'll know you paid yourself.
For sure.
And if you fucking feel otherwise, just know, right? Later on in any other fucking endeavors that you do, you better fucking dive in a little bit harder.
Yep.
Because it feels so much different when you've worked for it and you lose.
Yeah, for sure.
All I'm going to say. Now, 7-on-7 news, be great.
Yes, sir.
Let's hear the fucking announcement, man.
So, been working on some stuff a little bit kind of low key this season. Obviously going to games, finding guys, but been waiting to kind of announce this. We are going to do a Team Nevada. It's going to be called B-GR8 Battleborn. Okay, so we're looking to travel to Miami in January. We want to go to Houston, but we want to play the best teams in the country. Hopefully Seattle to play up. We want to play FSP. Period. That's who we want to play. That's who we want to beat. We've been doing this 5 years now. This is my 5th year, and I want to do it right. So we'll still have local teams. We'll still have the young, but there's going to be one team that's invite only, no tryout. Invites will be sent out on Friday. Okay, right after the playoff game. Once you get your invite, reach out to me whether you want to do it or not, and we can kind of figure things out. But this is an elite level team. This team is built for exposure. I'm going to be honest too. This team is built for you guys to build your NIL brands. We're only going to big time tournaments. We're not playing with the little backyard boogies. We're not going to, the little Vegas, the things all American. We're not doing that. We're playing in battles. We're playing in pylons. We're playing in OT7s. We're playing where the biggest reporters are. We're playing where the biggest sponsors are. And we're playing where cameras are, where you guys can build your brand. And we're going to compete. At the end of the day, this whole show was about talking about how great players are in Nevada. And I want to get kids from Reno too. It's not just Vegas. This is a Nevada team. And we've been talking about all this great high school football. But at the end of the day, bro, we have good football here. Mm-hmm. I mean, I would even consider it great. And people don't know that. Yeah. People don't know that. Last year we were knocking on the door a little bit. But this year we're going to kick that motherfucker down. And we're coming from every team, organization, respectfully, we are coming for a national title, period. So look out, check your DMs, look out for the invite. It is going to be coming out this Friday, which is...
It'll be October.
The 27th.
Yes.
Yeah, the 27th. So look out for them. Let me know if you're in or not. Again, we're focused on about 4 major tournaments. We might sprinkle some other ones in, but 4 major tournaments. Battle in Miami in January. Obviously, we got Battle here. We have Pylon here. And then there's Houston in March. So, again, we want to be great. Let's go play the best people in the country, period.
I fucking love it.
B-GR8 Battleborn national team. We're coming. We're coming this spring. Get ready.
Willie, I love recurring guests. I love that you reached out to me. We will make this a regular thing. I really do like
yes, sir.
The playoff outlook kind of scenario type thing. And I hope that, for those schools that we didn't cover too much in depth, really, really understand that if it wasn't for us, right, none of these fucking schools would get any sort of notoriety at all. So if we missed you, we're sorry. Be better next year.
Yeah. Yeah. If you don't like it, get better.
If you don't like it, get better. Yeah. All right. That's it. I'm Mr. George Carmona. Please like, share, subscribe. Let's get to 3,000 YouTube subscribers before the end of the football season. Why don't we? Yeah. Why not before the end of October? Make it happen, guys. Support me. TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. That's it. I'm done. Willie White on all their social platforms.